Welcome to the Black Tax. There's an African proverb that says, "The elder sees the storm before the clouds." I have an innate gift that I've had since I was a child. I recognize patterns very quickly, speeches, movements, how people speak to me, speak to others, the way they organize their being, their thoughts, their movements. I am able to get pieces of a story and then put the entire story together because the connection between the pieces you tell me that you think are important are actually the key facts to the entire story itself. I have a client who wants to be big man on campus. He wants to be the rainmaker. He wants to do all of these things. And every time I tell him something, or every time I try to advise him how it's going to fall out, he assures me that it does not. And I am 10 for 10 here. And every time I tell him A, he comes back as like, nope, it's A. Every time I tell him B and how B is going to pan out, it's B. We as Black people often forget that we have sensory memory, sixth sense. We know people better than they know themselves. If you truly tap into it, we know white people better than they know themselves, not because we wanted to know them, not because we needed to know them, but we needed to understand their pattern of behavior so that our bodies, minds, and souls would be protected. We had to have an internal alarm system on when we walk into white spaces, not because we're afraid of the white spaces, but we know the potential of the problem that could happen. I was meeting with a former client and we went to this bar in Los Angeles, and he is in an interracial relationship, and the bar is pretty much a white dive bar. And very jovial, music was urban-ish, everybody was having a good time. So when I got there, the first thing I do in any white spaces is I stand at the door. I look around. Not that I'm looking for anybody, I'm looking for the exits. I'm looking for my escape route. What's going to be the quickest way for me to get to safety? It is an innate behavior that was developed by attending PWIs my entire education. Grammar school, junior high school, college, grad school, law school. So we're sitting at this table and the waiter comes over, takes our order, and we start just chit-chatting. The Black client with his white girlfriend made a comment that, Malik always has an exit strategy whenever he comes into white spaces. And I looked at him like, nigga, have you lost your motherfucking mind? And he knew what the look was. It's like, oh, it's not a big deal. We're just having conversation. No problem. So one of the white women at the table decided she was going to be a bold bitch and she was going to have a conversation about safety. And she says to me, well, I don't understand. Why would you feel like you have to be, have an exit strategy in white spaces? White people are really good people. I took a sip of my gin and tonic, Hendrix, if anybody wants to buy me a bottle. And I looked her in her eyes and I said with all clarity, white people are unsafe when it comes to Black people. White people are violent. History proves that. White people will do and say whatever they need to say to avoid responsibility. She says, well, that seems racist. Let me educate you now. That might be bigoted. It can never be racist. That's a white exclusivity in America and any other country that has been colonized. So the other white man at the table was like, wow, that's you've had a really hard life if you believe that all white people are evil. And I was like, no, I haven't had a hard life. It's had some difficult spot, but it's been an easy space. And it's not difficult because, again, as James Baldwin has said, I have said, and will continuously say, I may not know you personally, but I do know you historically. Your sixth sense, that thing that you don't listen to when you should be listening to, is a warning system. It is the angels, the orishas, your gods, the universe telling you, oh no, danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger. I know I just stated myself. You build up habits that become wisdom. And that long-term wisdom can be applied throughout your life. In your beginning, you're learning friendships. You're learning what friendship means. You're learning people. You're watching how people respond to certain things, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, sexual orientation. And that gets stored up. And then somewhere along the lines, the puzzle pieces start to fit. You begin to spot things. And before you know it, you realize what the other person is doing before they even show their hand. That's an ability that comes with age, that comes with style, that comes with education, that comes with reading, that comes with a unique set of skills that only you have. Because everybody's discernment is not the same. Yours is unique to who you are, why you are, and what you are. We often live in spaces and places that we don't listen to our discernment because our heart is speaking louder than our minds. If we paid attention closer to what is being taught to us silently, a lot of us would be out of a lot of bullshit that we shouldn't have been in the first place. I've taken time. It has taken time for me to get to the level of discernment that I have. Now, I've always had discernment. I'm a firstborn, so I had to make decisions very quickly for my siblings. I was a surrogate parent when my parents were working late or were going to a dinner dance or going to a fraternity or sorority or Masonic or Eastern Star event. I had to learn my discernment by watching the behaviors of my siblings, and that translates into my adult life. Sometimes we ignore the skill sets we have because we're so busy worrying about the other skill set other people have that don't have an ounce of what you already have. I have said it before and I'm going to say it right now. The magic that you seek is the magic you ignore. Wisdom comes in different phases and stages. There's always someone who's trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. There's always someone saying, oh, that's not what this is. Oh, that's not what is going to happen. And the moment I hear it, spot it, tell you, you push back against it. And the best part, and I know I shouldn't have a gleam about this, is when you have to come back to me and say I was right. Now, I don't take the shine or the glory or the bitch I tried to tell you, but who the fuck am I? But there's something that gives me that push, that thing that tells me you were always right. So why do I doubt myself? And of course I have doubts. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I have frailties like everybody else. I have frailties, I have proclivities, I have a bunch of shit. But when it comes to what I say and what I'm talking about, there's no ambiguity there whatsoever. So I want you to think about your wisdom, the things you have picked up over the years, the things your grandparents might have said to you, your parents said to you, words of wisdom that may have been passed from a mentor, a friend, or colleague, or a professor, a teacher. And I want you to collect those things and think about how they play in your day-to-day life. How do they build your character better? How do they give you the warning signs before the signs are even there? See, wisdom does that. Wisdom acknowledges your pain, your suffering, your joys, your happiness, and everything in between. Wisdom awakens your five senses. Wisdom allows you to see the forest from the trees. Remember, what you want, who you are, why you are, has already begun. And each step you take towards the end of your journey are words of wisdom that you get to pass to another generation. Remember, each of us are walking libraries. And because we're walking libraries, that wisdom doesn't disappear. It flourishes as life moves on. Stay woke. We out.